Good morning, everybody. This is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy at Passionate World Talk Radio. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, and I have an exciting guest with me today. Her name is Dawn Renee. She is a live-in holistic caregiver and health coach. She is also founder of the Traveling Caregivers. She's also a musician, multi-talented. And I want to welcome Dawn Renee. Hi, Dawn.
Hi there. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, you are so welcome. I don't think many people know about holistic caregiving. So could you please describe what that is exactly and what you do, and we'll go on from there.
Sure. The best way I think to describe it is living with the world, like learning how to live with what's going on around you, outside, inside, and figuring out holistically what that means for you. So for me, I live in the woods and I see animals all day long, and animals might come and visit me, and I sit here and think to myself, well, not everybody gets to see this animal today, but I get to see this animal today. So what is this animal telling me today? And it always has some kind of a holistic message of some sort, because animals always have a meaning, just like we have a meaning. We all have this holistic being here, It's just that through the years we've become a little disconnected with TV and distractions and materialistic things, and then we forgot about taking care of our bodies and taking care of ourselves in a more holistic way, and how we fit into the whole scheme of the picture in this world. And so living holistically is just finding natural ways of living and what that resonates with you, and it resonates differently with each person.
That is very interesting, because that's getting more and more, I think, common now than it was before. So how would you go about treating a person that has dementia with holistic caregiving?
Usually I do it the same way with just about every person. I would sit down and try to understand what their life has been like, where they've come from, what they've been through. That could be traumas, that could be nutrition, it could be their environment that they're living in. Each one of us is living in a different place. So some people might be living in the city, so you might be closer to EMF and Wi-Fi, or a lot more distraction or distorted noises that are coming at you energetically, because our body is made of energy. So we might be getting hit from an energetic place by all the signals that are happening around us. And then that can be confusing to the body to adapt to, especially if you're not in a good place. If your body's already struggling with stressors, whether it be from work or family or other issues that you might be going through, your body can only take so many stresses before it starts to show signs of breakdown. And so for me, for anybody, whether it's dementia or Alzheimer's or any disorder, I would look at the environment that the person's in, and how can we reduce some of those triggers that might be disrupting their brain and disrupting the pattern of how their brain can work with their body. Because ultimately, we're made of water and energy. So we are affected by the gravity. We're also affected by all the waves that are in the air. So how do we reduce those things that might be triggering us? We look at the whole scope, the food, everything that you might be dealing with, and just go one by one and figure out what it is that might be triggering issues and causing the person disruption within their patterns.
It's very interesting, because you can tell, speaking of like waves, I'm a firm believer that the full moon does affect people. I mean, I have worked as a nurse. I worked in a preschool, and I see it. And people might think that's a little, yes, I think people might think that's a little cuckoo, but it's true. I know I feel a difference in myself with the full moon. That is so interesting. How did you start being a holistic caregiver?
For me, it started with myself, actually. I was struggling with all kinds of autoimmune disorder and diabetes, chronic fatigue, endometriosis, allergies, migraines. And these things didn't just happen overnight. They started kind of, stacking. So from the time I was born, I was born with issues with my tonsils, and I kept having strep throat, and then that transferred into Epstein-Barr, and then that went into mono, and then, I kept getting sick, and that kept compounding, and then I started seeing more symptoms. Allergies developed, migraines developed, chronic fatigue, and then eventually 10 years ago I was in a bed for a month because I had gotten so sick, and to the point that my body just said, I'm done. You've given me too much to deal with. I need to lay down and rest and try to sort this all out. My body just had too many things triggering all at the same time, and it didn't know how to deal with it. So after a month long in bed and learning how to really get back down to the root of what I needed, which was getting down to basically fruits and vegetables, was what I went to. And I lived on a plant-based diet. I had 2 shakes a day and 3 marshmallow root teas a day. And after 1 month of doing that, I dropped 35 pounds and reduced all of my symptoms. And within 6 months, I was able to put the diabetes in remission. I was able to stop the chronic fatigue and start managing the migraines. And there's no miracle, there's no cure. It's all about just figuring out how to manage the triggers and inflammations that are happening in the body. And for me, it was removing everything that could be causing me problems. And so getting back down to the basics was the quickest and easiest way for me to get there. And now 10 years later, and I've gone through a lot of different rounds of living in a house of mold, which re-stemmed up a lot of my problems. And then getting back and recovering from that to now to today, where I feel the most energized and more alive that I've ever felt since I was a kid, So after being lifetime of sicknesses, it was a great discovery for me to figure out that once I removed a lot of the triggers that I was having, that I could find wellness and wholeness in my health again, living a more natural, holistic life. Also, something else to think about is that with plants, it's alive. When you eat live food, live body. So when you're eating plants that are live, you're giving your body raw, live cells and organisms that help support your live cells and organisms. So those were some of the key takeaways that I got from that.
That is very interesting. I would love to hear if you could say about migraines, because I know there's a lot of people out there, myself included, who suffer from migraines. And it's very interesting that you said you had tonsils, you had mono, endometriosis, and I'm like, I had that. I would really, I don't know if you could give like a brief description as to migraines.
Well, the first thing that I would start with migraines is I would look at whether or not you're hydrated properly with water, because hydration is the key. Most people, they'll come to me and say, I'm having a migraine and I'm feeling foggy and I don't have any energy. And water, your body needs water. It's 72% water. You need water. So for me, it's drinking 50% of my body weight in ounces of water every day. And I drink clear, clean water that's been filtered. I also will do spring water or well water if it's been tested. And then I'll add minerals. So for me, getting rid of my headaches, it was managing my water intake, cutting out sugar, because sugar always seems to bring on a headache for me every time. So I cut out the water, cut out the sugars. My only sugars now are from fruit and from vegetables. And then no dairy. I don't eat dairy. Now, I'm not going to say everybody needs to run out there and do that. What I would say is if you do the water and you're doing the water religiously and you find that you're still not able to combat your headaches, then I would look at the sugar. And then if you really want to dig deep, there's a test called Everlywell, which you can have mailed to you in the mail. It's a sensitivity test. And they only prick your finger once. You send that back in a kit, and then they come back with the results and tell you all the things that you might be sensitive to, because you could have a food sensitivity to something and you don't even know that your favorite food is causing your headaches. So for me, that was another trigger. I found out cinnamon and ginger were causing headaches for me because I absolutely loved them, and I was eating a lot of it. And, they're two really good spices for you, but for me, it was triggering my migraines. So I had to lay off of that for the last 2 years. I've been laying off of it. And it's just about managing
interesting.
it. Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. How did you start your business? The Traveling
Caregivers, it started off as I'm Holistic. I started off as a company called I'm Holistic, and it was just me living my I'm Holistic life, meaning that I've gone to plant-based everything. My house, all my cleaners are plant-based. I eat plant-based. I live with the land now is the way I look at it. So it's more holistic. And with Traveling Caregivers, with I'm Holistic, let me back up. With I'm Holistic, I was working at a holistic shop for about 2 years with a woman who had 22 years experience as a nutritionalist. And she taught me everything she knew. And every time somebody would come into our shop, they would sit with us literally for like an hour to an hour and a half, and we'd hear their whole story of what was going on and what was ailing them. And then we would look at things that might be triggering them, things that might be deficiencies, and then try to help them overcome that and rebuild it. And literally we'd spend an hour and a half with each person. Well, every one of these persons that would come in was a different scenario, a different case. And so she would sit here and teach me all the different ways and all the things to be intuitive and empath, when you sit down and you're listening to somebody's story, to try to find those clues to help them find more wellness in their day. And it was great because we got to see the results. People would come back and tell us everything that was going on and all the changes that were happening. It was fantastic to see people's lives transform right before my eyes. And so when the shop closed, I really enjoyed doing that, and I decided that I was going to continue doing that, but just do it as a word of mouth kind of thing. So I set up a website and started putting my blog up there and started talking about my discoveries and how my journey was going. And then as that happened, people started coming to me and asking me for more help. And so as I was putting that together, I realized I was caregiving. And then I started caregiving for people completely. I worked with one person who had nobody to help him out, and he was 74 years old, and so I started being his personal assistant. And then from there, the Ice Bucket Challenge came along, and the Ice Bucket Challenge, I had no idea what the Ice Bucket Challenge was about. Everybody said it was about ALS, and I had no idea about ALS, and so somebody challenged me to do this Ice Bucket Challenge, but I thought, I can't just do a challenge. I need to learn about ALS too. So I went and learned about that, and then my husband says, well, don't you think it'd be interesting if an ALS patient showed up in our lives and we could help them with their journey and see how this holistic life might help them? And literally 6 months later, somebody came back into my life who was diagnosed with ALS, and that's the person I'm with now. And as that's continued, even though I'm her live-in, I'm still caregiving for others. I still go to people's homes, help set up their plans. I still talk to people on the phone and do plans with them on the phone. They come over here and sit with me. So it just became me traveling to them or them traveling to me. It was more just the sense that I'm a caregiver and I'm here to help. I want to help people find the health that I've found for myself, that I've helped reclaim for myself, and to know that it is possible to be able to manage and maintain it.
That is so awesome. You were my first holistic caregiver guest on Chatting with Betsy.
Wow.
So that's awesome. Really, it's awesome to hear, the other side. And I was just curious, are your patients more or clients more women by any chance versus men?
Majority, yes. Now, I have had men, like my husband, he comes to me for stuff, and the lady's husband that I take care of, he comes to me for stuff too. And I have had other men ask me questions, but to be honest, and this is nothing against men or women, I think women are more in tune with doing something more natural. It just seems like it's a lot easier for me to work with the women. The men, you tell them what they want to do, and they're kind of more like, well, they're going to go hunt and gather themselves and then come back and tell me that what they found. And I totally think that's great too, because I think everybody has to find their own path, and they have to find their own way towards healing. And it's just been my experience that the men are a little more, they're not as in tune with sticking the path of whatever I've helped them lay out. They're more like, okay, well, thank you, and now I'm going to go research a lot, and then I'll come back later. And they might come back like a year later and go, oh, I tried that for a little while, and it worked. And I said, well, what happened? I stopped. Oh, maybe you should start again. Like, okay.
That's so true of men. That's so true.
Like any project, they start it, and you know what? It is kind of true, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, I know from my husband, when he was going for physical therapy, and then he stopped. And, of course, his back hurt because he stopped doing the exercises.
Right.
Yes. And, I asked about the women. I thought women would be more attuned to their bodies, but also because in traditional medicine, and it's been my experience, that doctors don't listen to us.
Right.
So I think going to a holistic practitioner, you can be more open, and I think they would listen to you and what's going on more so than the traditional male doctor. Nothing against traditional male doctors.
Oh, no, nothing against it. There's a purpose for everything.
Good. This is right. This is just, excuse me, like an added bonus to your health to seek a holistic practitioner such as yourself.
That's the thing to remember. That you made that's a huge point right there. It's no way, in a sense, replacing. It's in addition to, and I really wish that doctors out there would take on a more holistic approach to healing people. I really think that this thing that I hear that they might be afraid of it taking away from them as having patients, I disagree. They could spend so much more time with each patient, and they could actually drill down and get to the root of what's causing the issues and build a long-term longevity relationship with that patient, not based on medicine and or pills and surgeries, but on looking at it from a different perspective, because there is a need for all of it. Because it's, there might come a day when I might need an antibiotic for something. I'm going to do everything in my power possible to make sure that I don't, but there might be. So, I'm glad that it's available if that ever happens.
Right. I would recommend for people to check it out. Check out what Dawn Renee has to offer and the holistic approach. I mean, if you've been with traditional medicine, that's fine. We're not saying not to stick with that, but find out what's the underlying stresses that's causing inflammation, that's causing you to, your body to flare up. And they say that inflammation and stress, as you know, Dawn, causes havoc on the body, causes you to have, migraines and
induces your aging. And that's the thing. Even as I was growing up, I mean, I don't drink now. I'm not a drinker, but every once in a while I would have a glass of wine, or I might have a little tequila with margarita or something. I don't do any of it anymore because I'm protecting my liver. like my liver,
right.
I want to make sure that my liver stays happy, because if your liver and your kidneys are happy and your tummy's happy, then everything else is going to be happier. So it's just about making it all happy in there. And homeostasis is another thing. You know, your body is looking for that calm. It's looking to remain calm. And so those stresses that bring on and induce and trigger aging and depletion of minerals and depletion of the nutrients that your body's using, and the functionality of your ability to use proper nerve function. All of these things, when you have inflammation, it puts pressure on all of that.
That's right, and it's a proven fact. I want to ask you, Dawn, when you go to be a caregiver for someone, if they do have a loved one living with them, how do you help the caregiver take care of themselves? Do you suggest the holistic approach in staying calm as a caregiver, staying healthy as a caregiver, which I think is really important?
Gosh. Absolutely. When I first started being a full-time caregiver, I thought, I can take on this all by myself. I can do it all. And literally would be working from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day, doing all the physical activities, because the person I take care of is quadriplegic. So she has ALS, and her muscles don't work from the neck down. So you literally have to do everything. And as a caregiver, it is so hard to see that the person that you're taking care of is in need of something, and they can't do it for themselves. And if you're a caregiver, you're most likely, empathic in some way, and you want to jump in. Your only thought is jumping in and saving the day. And no matter how tired you are, because they need you more than they need you more than you think you need yourself. And it's not true. So what I've done now with caregivers is I've just reminded them, get a list of 10 things that you like to do, even if it could be daily. 10 things that you like to do, and just make sure that you check off your list every day. Make sure you go through the things that you enjoy doing for you. Block time for yourself. Create a schedule for the person you're taking care of. Make sure that person that you're taking care of knows that the schedule that knows the schedule, so that way they have trust and faith that you're coming back, that you're not leaving them there. Because that was the thing that I needed to work with my friend. She has ALS. She can't itch her back. She can't do anything for herself. And so when I first started working with her, if I would leave her for 5 minutes, she'd be on the horn, like, come back, come back. And so we had to build sort of a trust with one another, that she knew I was coming back, and that she knew she was going to get her food and her water and her physical therapy, and that we were going to do all the things that needed to be done, and we were going to do it scheduled every single day. So every single day, it took about a year of getting her to understand that I was going to be there for her, but now it completely works, and I'm able to block time with her. So, there's anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours that I might be able to have to go do one activity. And then the other thing that I do is I trade time with the other caregiver. So if I have another caregiver coming in and I know she's going to be here for 4 hours, I know that I have 4 hours to go take care of a bunch of stuff and then be ready to take care of her when I get back. And then the same with her husband. We work it out. We trade time. So with any caregiver, I would say setting a schedule, setting your own daily top 10. And it doesn't mean that you have to devote, 5 hours to it. It's be prepared to block time. So how much time does each activity need from you, or how much time do you want to give it? And make sure you devote that time to it. The other thing that I had stopped doing was I had stopped working out, because I was taking care of her, and I'd be exhausted. So by the time I get home, I couldn't work out. And in the morning, I was just interested in getting to her. So it really was a challenge for me to start putting it back day. Okay, when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to religiously meditate for 20 minutes. Then I'm going to go do my stretching for another 20 minutes. Then I might jump on my little mini trampoline for 5-10 minutes. And then I might write in my journal for about 5-10 minutes, just so that I can do the activities that get my mind into that place of creativity, into releasing, and into quietness and calmness, and giving my body back what it needs too. And then drinking water. Make sure you got your water bottle with you all day long, and that you don't forget to drink water. You know, eating food, I've been very guilty of not eating in a day, but drinking water it's paramount. I can't go a day without drinking water, because I've found that I can fast for days and not eat a thing, but if I don't drink water, I will definitely be minus energy. So drinking the water has been a huge help.
That's very important. I carry a water bottle around wherever I go.
Yeah.
I definitely drink my water. However, when I was at work, I had my water bottle but wasn't able to drink like I would have liked. But that is very important information. I tell caregivers, you must take care of yourself, because if you want to survive the caregiving journey and enjoy life afterwards, you have to take care of yourself. Self-care is very important. Dawn, I know that you're a musician too. So
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? Are you country music? What kind of music do you do?
It's funny. I came from Seattle originally. I'm living in Tennessee now. I moved to Tennessee as a country singer. I sang country my whole life. And I moved to Tennessee, met my husband, who is from Canada, and has kind of a French, Quebec, Cajun, international vibe to him. And somehow when he and I got together and started writing our own music, it kind of morphed into something else, more, we call it hippie pop, hippie gypsy pop. But it's very upbeat, happy, a little bit of Americana, a little bit of folk, definitely hippie, conscious lyrics, something to make people feel good. It's all based on what we've been living, our experiences that we've been living together for the past 13 years. And so it's been a journey with the music itself. And I don't do the country anymore. Somehow my everything just morphed when him and I started to become a duo. But I'm really excited and happy about what we create. I'm proud of what we create, because I actually love it so much that I could sing our songs all day long, every day, all the time. So it's been great as far as healing for my journey.
That sounds cool. And being that you're a caregiver, do you use music to help calm your clients and for yourself? Because I find music very therapeutic for myself. And when my husband was alive, I played him music, Johnny Cash. My husband loved Johnny Cash. When he would take a shower, I'd say, let's go play some Johnny Cash, because it helped relax him while I was washing him. So do you play music for your clients?
Oh,
do you use that as therapy?
Absolutely, yes. And we'll go in and just practice in her room because she loves it so much. And we've actually written a number of songs for her, specifically for her. But they could, if I was to sing them to you, you might think they were about you. So it's been very therapeutic for us to be able to express ourselves and how we've been feeling, because, as a caregiver, it's a hard journey, and there's a lot of physical, mental, energetic, emotional pulling happening on your soul all the time, every single day. And especially when you're living with somebody who's dealing with any of these disorders like Alzheimer's or dementia or ALS or Parkinson's, it's so debilitating, and you feel helpless at times seeing them in their situation. But the one thing that I've known or seen is that with the music, she just comes to life with it. She loves it. When she cries, it's happy tears. It brings her so much joy to hear us singing. And literally that when my husband will play the first note on the guitar to one of her favorite songs, she just starts bawling every time. And so, and I know that, that can be very, very therapeutic, and it definitely boosts the mood in the house when we do it. When we're like, okay, today we're going to practice all over the house. We're going to sing in the living room. We're going to sing in her room. We're going to sing it. We just put the music out there everywhere. And it just changes the vibe. Everything in the house lifts. You feel it. And as a singer and a songwriter, being able to share that piece of me with her and with anybody else who wants to hear it, I can't even explain the joy it brings my heart. It really, it's honestly the biggest blessing in my life to be able to do that for people.
That is so awesome. And it's been proven that music does help people calm down, especially someone who has a dementia, brings them back into another time when they were growing up. And I suggest people, you play the music that your loved one likes, not what you like, but what they liked. And it may not be what you like, but that's okay. You play it for them anyway. Dawn, how would someone be able to listen to your music?
Well, right now I'm trying to think. We do have something on Facebook. We've just been doing some live shows. We kind of pulled all of our music down because we're re-recording and doing recording right now, and we should have an EP coming out this year. We'll be putting that out on Spotify so people can listen to it for free, and then we'll have it on iTunes and all that too. But right now, if you have Facebook, you can go to Dawn Loves Nash. That's Dawn, D-A-W-N, Loves Nash, and on Facebook. And we have a couple of concerts that are up there right now if you want to watch those. And we're also talking about doing a show. We'll do another show here soon. So we'll put that up, and we'll put that on Dawn Loves Nash as well for people that want to come in. And that'll be live. So in case they happen to catch us live, you can come say hi to us too. But we'll have some more music stuff coming out soon, as soon as my husband and the mixing guy gets done doing their job.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to check that out myself. Very cool. Dawn Loves Nash. I love it. I'm going to check that out myself on Facebook. Dawn, how do people get in touch with you if they are interested in you helping them with the holistic caregiving lifestyle?
I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and a website. If you have Facebook, I do have a private group that you can join. It's the Traveling Caregivers support group, and that's a support group for any caregivers that want to come and ask me questions. They're more than welcome to come there and ask those questions, and it's private, so it's only caregivers. And we'll have stuff up there for them in case, some resources. And then also on my website, I'm starting to put more and more resources on that. It's a work in progress. And the Instagram, I'm putting stuff up there all the time. But you can definitely reach out to me on any of these and say hi to me, and I will answer and get back to you and help. It's my biggest joy is to be able to help people feel good about what they're doing right now with all of the stuff that we're dealing with and the stuff that I've gone through. I hate hearing that anybody's suffering. So it's like, I would love to help you if I can, or at least help you help yourself. That's the main goal, is help you help yourself. And maybe you're just not seeing the thing that might be right there to help you.
That's true. That's very true. Oh, I so enjoyed our chat, Dawn, and I know you're working on a book. So when you have it published, I would love to have you back on my show to talk about your book.
That'd be
and
great.
I enjoyed talking to you so much, and I want to encourage listeners, check out Dawn Renee's Facebook page. Check her out on her media.
Thank you so
please
much for
read.
having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Please read the blog that Jeannie White writes. The information will be on that blog. Please share it. I want to thank Dawn Renee for coming on and sharing her information, very important. And I want to thank Jeannie White for being the producer. Folks, we need to take care of ourselves. You as a caregiver need to take care of yourself. It's very important. Get in touch with Dawn Renee. See if she can help you. And, you know, if you want to enjoy life after caregiving, and I say this, I don't mean to be morbid, you can make it to the other side. Okay, I'm living proof. But you need to take care of yourself. You need to be a little selfish in taking care of yourself. It's important, and it's actually a matter of life and death, seriously. You know, I don't sugarcoat. I'm chatting with Betsy. So, folks, I do not sugarcoat, Dawn Renee. I tell it like it is. It's like it is. I'm a Jersey girl.
That's awesome.
I'm a Jersey girl. And, you know, I'm living proof, and I thank God. It's by the grace of God, and I will give God the glory that he pulled me through, because it was 10 years of caregiving for my husband, and it's tough. I know it's hard, caregivers, to take care of yourself. We know that. But it is important that you do so. And if you miss any,
on first.
That's right. That's right. Take care of yourself first. And if you missed any of this audio cast, I am on Castbox. You can subscribe. It's for free. iHeart, Spreaker, Spotify. I am on these stations. So subscribe. Go on Chatting with Betsy, and you won't miss these shows. And Dawn Renee is going to come on again.
Yay.
I would love for you to come on again, because I'm doing a series on being an advocate.
Oh,
and
great.
I think you would be a great guest for my advocacy series. So,
I would love
folks,
to.
Oh, thank you. So, folks, stay tuned for that. This is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy and Petra Roll Talk Radio. Until we chat again, take care of yourself and be safe. Bye-bye now.
See ya.